Coyote Culture is presented by the Cheyenne River Predator Hunters and TS Customs, precision firearms built for success. This segment of Coyote Culture is brought to you by Brotherhood Arms, guns, bows, and bullets.
Dakota and I are out on an area that we've called several times. We've had a lot of success here. You can see a long ways. We had a bunch of mule deer around. We knew it was probably going to be pretty good. The only thing that was going to kind of make it tricky was we were in the corn stalks.
We've called this ridge line before in the past, and there's always coyotes along it. Well, it had been planted corn and sunflowers for the last few years, and I'd go, well, let's go call that, and he'd go, oh, I don't want to go sit out in that stuff. Well, I finally get him talked into it. After like 2 years, I finally get him talked into it. That's too good of a spot to turn down. So we get up there and we sit down, and
there's a ton of deer at this stand. The deer can help you, and they can also, kind of distract you as well.
A buck. That's a buck coming towards us.
You can watch them, and they usually pick out something that they don't like, or and sometimes the deer will even chase them. That wasn't the case here, but the deer are actually very helpful in that situation.
that really we lucked out. This first coyote, everything just worked perfectly.
Yeah, Dakota's watching these deer, videotaping them a little bit.
You're always looking for some indicator that there's something new coming in or something moving in.
You can see the deer right about then. They're looking at something, they don't like it. And then I knew there was one coming. I told Dakota right away that, we got a coyote right here, we need to get on him.
This segment of Coyote Culture is brought to you by Atlas Target Works. Steel targets that perform when it matters most.
Dakota and I are out on an area that we've called several times. We've had a lot of success here. We knew it was probably going to be pretty good. The only thing that was going to kind of make it tricky was we were in the corn stalks.
It's just so hard to see them, man. Everything's just tall enough, and you'll just completely lose them. They'll be in there, and you'll be following them, and then they'll just be gone, and it might take you 5 minutes to find them again. But we lucked out. This first coyote, everything just worked perfectly.
Yeah, Dakota's watching these deer, videotaping them a little bit. You can see the deer right about then. They're looking at something, they don't like it. And then I knew there was one coming. I told Dakota right away that, we got a coyote right here, we need to get on him.
I actually got on it really quick with the camera, and I mean, lucked out. And as soon as I zoomed the camera in, I zoomed exactly onto the coyote, and then I just stuck with him in my screen and followed him. And
got him, Dakota. I'm gonna shoot him when he's pretty quick here.
he comes and he comes and he comes and he comes and he gets out to the point in front of us where he stops, and he stopped right behind the call. I could tell Lonnie was probably going to shoot, and I'm like, hey, no, don't. And then luckily he moved and he come a little bit further and he got out and he opened a little bit. And this was just a typical, pretty easy, pretty normal coyote set. We called, and a handful of minutes in, here come a coyote, and he come right out in front of us, and we shot him. Well, Lonnie picks out another coyote out of this cornfield, and then shortly thereafter, I realized why these corn stalks was a pain in the butt. He's 400 yards away in a flat field, and we don't ever get him on camera. And that's what, high stalks will do to you. So I never once found that coyote in binoculars or the camera or my own eyes. I never once ever seen that coyote. And Lonnie lost it probably 2 or 3 times. We'd finally, after 20, 25 minutes, we got up and just give up, and we figured that coyote must have left or did something. But I understand his frustration about not wanting to go back in there again, but we kind of had beginner's luck, or I had beginner's luck, and we got this coyote downed and filmed in the corn.
In this circumstance, we probably could have gotten a better viewing area because you do have that cover of the corn stalks. If I had to do anything differently, I probably would have set up a little bit more down the hill, better viewing area. Like I said, we had pretty good camouflage with them stalks, but other than that, I thought it was a pretty good stand.
This segment of Coyote Culture is brought to you by SWgger. Shoot with confidence. Shoot with SWgger, the bipod with moves.
We got one coyote down. This is another spot that we know nobody really hunts. It's kind of fresh ground.
I think I'm just gonna go straight to distress here. I doubt they've ever been called. We should be on fresh ground. All right, here we go.
we've always hunted this ground before, but we hadn't ever sat up like that in that spot. We've hunted this little creek before. You can get tucked in there pretty good and hide. And we sat down there and tried this, and we had never tried, you know, that spot before on this property. And yeah, worked out pretty good.
We immediately have coyotes coming to the call. This pair is coming on a string.
Right above, they're coming over the hill. They're about to the other side of the hill. This field to the next one. Right to the right of the. Oh yeah. Got 'em.
You tend to get locked on coyotes. As soon as you get coyotes found, you know, every now and then you'll scan a little bit here and there and try to see more. But for the most part, you know, your job is to stay locked on these coyotes. Well,
I'm waiting for them to pop over the hill, and just about then, Dakota sees another coyote right in front of us. She's kind of sneaking through the grass, not really coming at us, but coming, you know, dang sure came to the call.
if I remember right, I have a hard time finding him with the camera. Lonnie's ready to shoot him, and the cameraman's not ready.
I know, I can't find him in the screen. All right, I'm on him now.
You know, ideally, I was hoping to shoot this coyote before the other two popped over the hill, hoping that that hill might break up some of the sound, and didn't work out that way. We end up shooting the coyote right down below us, and about right when we shot, they were on the hill, heard it, they took off, wanted nothing to do with it. So here it didn't work, but you know, when you have a for sure coyote, or you know, high percentage coyote at 100 yards, you should hit. You're probably going to take that shot every day, or at least I'm gonna. You know, I told Dakota that when they left, they weren't leaving too hard, and I never did see him come out of that bottom. So
There's some coyotes way out on the other side of that hill. Over there in that grass, there's two coyotes. I don't know if you can see them or not.
I take off hiking, and then I'm gonna go over, and you know, Dakota didn't want to come with me, but I'm gonna go over and see if I can't get these coyotes.
They went right back to where they came out of, where that little creek was. They came out of, and it was way out there. Yeah, Lonnie got back up on that next ridge, and yeah, nothing.
These are places that, you know, we've had success in the past. These are stands that are gonna keep producing, I think, year in and year out. Always have good luck at this property, and this is just one of those days that, you know, goes to show as successful. It was fun, and it was an awesome hunt.
On the next episode of Coyote Culture, Seth and Dayton are out for some quick sets in the cold.
This dog didn't come from where he's supposed to. He come from my hard left.
And Seth shows off his better side. That's on the season finale of Coyote Culture.